Hey, welcome back to my channel. Are you ready to take your relationships to the next level? The Enneagram isn't just a tool for self-discovery, it's an incredible resource for improving your relationships too. In this video, I'm going to talk about the art of loving and understanding each Enneagram type. Because when you understand someone at their core, that's where the magic happens. From the can-do achiever to the sensitive individualist, and every type in between, each person has a unique set of needs. Whether it's your partner, your family member, friend, or colleague, when you're equipped with the insights I'm about to talk about, you'll be amazed, like astonished at how your connections will thrive. Hi, my name is Tyler Zock, and I'm the author of the 40-Day Enneagram Devotional series and your personal guide to helping you transform your life, relationships, and workplace by giving you spot-on truths for your type. Listen, if you are a fan of the Enneagram and can testify that it has changed your relationships, then smash that like button, like right now. And make sure to hit that subscribe button too, because who wouldn't want to get notified about another free video with more valuable content next week? Okay, without further ado, let's get to it. All right, let's talk about type 1s. How do we love our type 1s? Well, I got 5 things for you. The first thing we can do is provide more structure. That's right. 1s love structure. 1s even love structure in conflict. 1s don't like a lot of surprises, okay? They like systems, processes, steps, like anything you can do to make things more predictable and hold people accountable to their actions. They'll appreciate you more. They'll feel loved. Next, balance out their inner critic. 1s are harder on themselves than they are anyone else. And so you don't need to offer more criticism to a type 1 because they've already probably beat themselves up. What they need is grace. What they need is to know that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have some flaws, right? And so balance out their inner critic by giving them lots and lots of grace, compliments, encouragement, right? Be there for them when they are too hard on themselves. The next way you can love type 1s is to get them to relax and lighten up. And by that, I don't mean tell them, hey, you need to relax and lighten up, because 1s will not want to hear that from you. But you can just very gently nudge them to take their vacation days, nudge them to go on vacation without taking work with them, right? Make them feel like it's not selfish to go do a hobby, to go do something fun for themselves. That will loosen them up and help them to take life less seriously and make it more enjoyable for them. Another thing you can do to love on 1s is to be crystal clear with everything. They don't like ambiguity, trying to guess what the expectations are, what you're thinking. So be crystal clear about your expectations and desires and what you want. And lastly, one of the things that you can do to love a type 1 is to do what you'll say you'll do. 1s are like the most responsible type on the Enneagram. They do whatever they say they're going to do. It's astounding to me how much they follow through on things and follow through on appointments and everything like that. And so if you can do that for them, show up when you say you're going to show up and do that chore that you said you were going to do, they'll feel loved. Okay, let's talk about type 2s. How do we love type 2s? Well, the first thing we can do is to let them talk extensively. Right? 2s are verbal processors, and they usually find their conclusions or find solutions or find clarity by talking out loud. And so creating space for them to verbally process will help them to feel loved. Don't cut them off. Like that will just make them feel ashamed or awkward. The second thing you can do is encourage them to say no. That's one word you won't hear them say too often. Typically, when people ask them to do something, they're going to say yes. So you need to help them to realize that they need to put the oxygen mask on first, take care of themselves, do something fun, pursue a hobby, like say no to others so they can say yes to self-care for themselves. The third thing you can do is to recognize all their sacrifices, right? Twos do so much for us, don't they? Like they do so much. They're usually the first to text us, the first to call, the first to come over, to pursue us. They're always sacrificing for us. And the very least we can do is to say, you know what? We see you. We see all the things that you're doing for us, and we couldn't be more grateful for you. Like that will make them feel loved tremendously. Another thing that you can do for type 2s is to heap on the personal affirmation. I always joke that when I'm with a 2, me being a 3, we can just go back and forth and encourage one another all day. Like we can spend all day encouraging one another because we love encouragement. 2s love encouragement. And so continually, just every day, tell them, hey, you're so good at this, or I love you for X, Y, and Z reasons. Just continue to heap that personal affirmation on, because affirmation is like fuel for them. And then lastly, don't take advantage of their desire to help. What can happen is when you're in a relationship with a two, or you work with a 2, you can get used to them pursuing you. You can get used to them stepping up to the plate to help. You can get used to being rescued by a 2. And therefore, over time, it's so easy to take advantage of them. Just to call them when you need something, to call them when you need help moving, to call when you need help with a project. And if you're not careful, you can only call them when you need their help. And that makes them feel taken advantage of. Right? They want their voice to be heard. They want to have meaningful people interactions throughout the day with others. They don't just want to be using their hands. They want to connect with their hearts. They want to connect through words. And so, yeah, don't take advantage of them. Make sure that they feel loved apart from what they do. Okay, how can you love us type 3s? Well, here's one way. You can recognize our achievements. You know, we aren't what we do, and 3s can attach themselves to their work. But it is true that God has wired us to be productive, to grow things, to produce things, to create things in this world. And we find a lot of enjoyment in that. And when you see that and you acknowledge that and you recognize that and say, hey, well done, like that makes us feel loved. Now, that being said, the second thing you can do is to affirm us for who we are, right? Apart from our accomplishments. Yes, please affirm us and recognize our achievements. But at the end of the day, make sure that we know that we are loved for who we are and not what we do. And my wife does so great at this. She could care less about my big resume or list of accomplishments. She just loves me for me. And whenever she talks about my personality and how lovable I am and what a great guy I am apart from the things I'm about to do today, like that makes me feel really loved. The third thing you can do is to not waste our time. So 3s do not like interruptions, especially in the middle of the day when we're productive and we're getting things done. The last thing we want is for there to be multiple interruptions. And so one of the things you can do is schedule. Say, hey, can I schedule a time with you tomorrow to go out to lunch with you? Or can I schedule a time on your calendar later this week to get an hour with you to process something? Can we, giving 3 advanced warning on that will help them to budget their time and make them feel like they're in control of their schedule. A fourth way that you can love us is to stay optimistic and give solutions. We're not in the positive outlook group, but 3s generally are very optimistic and very positive. And so when you come as a Debbie Downer and just give a list of reasons why everything is bad, why the sky is falling, if you're complaining or whining, but not coming with solutions, that's not going to go well for a 3, right? A 3 wants you to do something about the problems in this world because we're doers. Like, try to stay optimistic. And if you bring problems, make sure that you're coming with solutions as well. Okay, lastly, one of the ways that you can love 3s is to help them to slow down. Okay, it's not going to feel very loving at first, but when you get us to slow down and to realize that most of the things that we're doing at 7 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night are not urgent, that they're not that important, but that family is more important, that relationships are more important, that relaxing is more important to our enjoyment of life and self-care, like ultimately that does love us because it helps us to realize what's most important. It's not work. It's not getting more stuff done, but it's about being and being with other people. Okay, let's talk about type 4s, how to love type 4s. The first thing you can do is to encourage clarity and action. So 4s tend to be very complex individuals. They love nuance and color. Things are not very black and white to them. And so what you got to do to help love them is to encourage them to be clear about what they're doing and what they want to accomplish, and help them to take action, right? To take all those feelings and to take everything that's going on inside and to convert it into actionable steps. Like help them to have a routine during the day to be able to get things done and feel productive. Anything you can do to provide structure, clarity, action will actually love them because it'll help them to get out of their feelings into the real world and feel like they belong. Second of all, be authentic and not overly logical. Okay, 4s are super authentic and they want you to be very authentic and can tell if you're being fake like a mile away. They have a radar for that. So come, be sincere, be authentic. Say, hey, here's what I'm feeling. Here's what's going on in my heart. And don't be overly logical, right? Don't come like a computer processor and dissect their feelings and dissect what they're going through and spit it back to them in bullet points. Don't put this pressure on them or expectations on them to make logical sense or rational sense. Just let them be and listen to their feelings without butting in or interrupting or trying to fix them. Which goes along with the third point, which is don't treat them as overly dramatic. When they get expressive, when they want to be authentic, when they want to declare something, let them bring their full emotions and their passion to you, and don't stand back. Don't make them feel weird. Don't tell them you're being dramatic. Like let them bring their full selves to you, because God welcomes our full selves. God welcomes those who are after his heart. Okay, so if God can create space for us to vent and to express our true selves, then we should do that for our loved ones. The next thing you do is be sensitive with feedback. 4s, like 1s, are hard on themselves and they internalize criticism. So if you give them some constructive feedback, chances are they're going to take that up a notch internally and beat themselves up with it. So make sure to be really affirming, to come to them and say, hey, appreciate you, love working with you, love being in this relationship with you. Here's one thing that I feel like could be helpful to the relationship. Can you do that? Great. Okay, so stay optimistic. Like that will go a long way than just coming with and then dropping a bomb on them. And then fifthly, seek to understand their complexity. Right? They are complex beings. And if you just treat their emotions and treat their feelings like simplistically or reductionistically, like it's just not going to go well. They want to know that they are complex and that you have this deep desire to understand them, to figure them out, so that you can just know how unique and beautiful and special they are. Like if you come to them with that posture, they will feel loved. All right, let's talk about type 5s. The first thing you can do to help love of type 5 is to give them time to recharge. Right? Just realize that they have a battery that always feels like it's on empty, and they need to get away from the masses and get away from social events, get away from the water cooler to go back and recharge their batteries. Don't make them feel bad about that. Just know that they need that and give them lots of freedom to go do that. Secondly, give them space to think things through. Right? When they get into conflict or into a high emotional or emotionally intense situation, they freak out internally. And they need time to process what in the world's happening. They need time to go figure it out rationally. If you say, hey, go take some time. We can talk about this later tonight or tomorrow. If you give them time to go and to just be with their thoughts and think things through, they can come back and they can feel less pressured to have a really hard conversation. The third thing you can do is to be brief and straightforward. Fives have a very direct, blunt, efficient talk style. And so they don't want you to come with just unpacking all kinds of emotions for a really long time or to beat around the bush. They just want you to be brief and straightforward. They'll feel loved if you reciprocate that. Fourthly, no last minute asks. But fives will not feel loved if you come to them last minute and say, hey, I need this done, or hey, let's go over to their house now. They just called and they want us to come over. Like none of that, because it helps them to conserve their energy. It helps them to not feel invaded or intruded upon. So if you want to love fives, don't ask them last minute for things. Talk about things well in advance. And then lastly, tell them they don't have to have it all figured out to move forward. Fives are brilliant, they're wise, they're creative, they're innovative. They have all this amazing treasure within to get out into the world. But sadly, they feel like they don't know enough to pull the trigger on something, to move forward, to execute that plan. And so you got to gently, in love, tell them, hey, you don't have to have it all figured out. Like you can move forward with 1.0 version. You don't need 5.0 version. You have all this amazing wisdom to share with this group of people. Like start sharing it. People want to see your drafts. People want to see what you have because there's way more than they have. Like God will take care of your needs. He will give you the answers to say if you feel like you don't have the answers to say. He's given us the Holy Spirit as a guide to pray and seek wisdom and guidance and to move forward in faith, even though we can't see everything. So yeah, just gently nudge your fives to take risks because we need what the fives have. Let's talk about type sixes. And hopefully I have some good answers because I'm married to a six. All right, so the first way that we can love our sixes is to give them space or create space to allow them to express their concerns. Now, as a positive type, I might not have a lot of concerns. I might think that everything is going to go well, nothing bad is going to happen, but that's not how the sixes are wired. They're wired to forecast problems. So we need to allow them space in conversation to express their concerns without cutting them off, or letting them to verbally process those things. Second of all, and from experience, we need to call them a realist, not a pessimist. I used to think of my wife as a pessimist, but now I see her as a protector. Right? She is a realist, and all sixes are realists. And so we need to engage them as realists and not treat them as pessimists if we're going to make them feel loved. Thirdly, reassure them during their catastrophizing. Right? This is just one of the things that they're going to struggle with. Catastrophizing. Everything's a catastrophe. The sun and moon are falling. This day could not get worse. This problem could not get bigger. That just comes with the territory of being a six. What they need is reassurance. Hey, thank you for sharing that. I see that could be a big problem, but it's not yet. And so just want to reassure you that it's going to be okay. Next, deliver on your promises to them. Kind of like what we said about type ones, like do what you say you'll do. Like deliver on your promises. If you say that you're going to go on a date night, or if you're going to go hang out with your friend at the movies, like don't back out last minute. Like show up, right? Show up, deliver on your promises, because that's a way to cultivate trust with the six, and trust is everything. And then lastly, allow them to play devil's advocate. Okay, sixes by default do not want to be a devil's advocate. They don't wake up in the morning saying, like, I'm going to try to go against everybody today. No, they don't do that. But they feel like in order to protect their family, to protect their team, their coworkers, their spouse, they need to play devil's advocate when everybody else is about ready to run off the cliff. Because if everybody is in agreement and everybody's moving forward, they feel like they have to play devil's advocate to look at the other side. Because if we don't look at the other side, then we're not going to be safe. So allow them to play devil's advocate and to go against you at times, because what they're trying to do is not make your life more miserable or hectic. They're trying to protect you. Okay, let's talk about type 7s. How can we love our type 7s well? Well, the first thing we can do is to allow them to bend the rules. Now, I know all the type 1s are thinking, absolutely not. We're not going to allow them to bend the rules. But listen, like as Jesus said, the Sabbath was made for us. We weren't made for the Sabbath. Okay, we were not made for rules. Rules were made for us. Rules help bring structure and accountability and a process to life, but a round peg is not going to fit into a square hole. There's different contexts, there's different situations every single day. And so we got to use wisdom, not black and white rules, if we're gonna love our friends and family members and coworkers well. And so there are going to be times when the rules don't apply perfectly to a particular situation, and it's okay to go a different route. It's okay for a 7 to do things a little differently than the rule, because it'll still work out in the end. Like, we'll still get to the goal, we'll still get to the destination, we'll still grow. So allow the 7 to bend the rules whenever you can. I hope that makes sense. Secondly, share their enthusiasm. Like, all 7s hate when they're explaining a new idea to you, or they're excited about something and you just have a blank look on your face. Right? That is, in that moment, they do not feel loved. But if they're sharing something and you're like, and your eyes are bright and you're nodding your head, you show them that you're listening to what they're saying, and they will feel really, really loved inside. Third, give lots of space for them to share their ideas, their new ideas. 7s have 10 new ideas every minute. But what you can do to start loving them well is just to give them more space than you do right now to let them share their new ideas, knowing that they're not going to act on every single idea tomorrow. Okay, sometimes we get afraid and we get fear in our eyes because they start talking about this new thing and they're talking about it so enthusiastically, like they're going to run at it tomorrow. But listen, they're not. They're not. So just let them get their excitement out about that new idea. And then tomorrow, wait and see if they're actually going to do it. And if they are and you have concerns, you can share your concerns then. But you don't need to share your concerns and cut them off in the present moment while they're sharing their excitement and these new ideas with you. Next, ask for permission to give feedback. Right? 7s don't want to be micromanaged, along with 8s and a few other numbers. They don't want to feel like they're being controlled or limited. They don't want to feel like you're wagging your finger at them or they're in trouble. And so say, hey, I have some feedback for you. Do I have the permission to share it with you? And if you give them that permission, they will feel more free, they'll feel more autonomous, and they'll be much more likely to receive it. And then lastly, remind them that the grass is greener wherever you water it. Again, this is not going to feel like love when you share this with them, but ultimately it is going to love them when you remind them that the grass is not greener on the other side. They're not going to find more joy by going to another house or moving on to a different relationship or moving on to a new career. Right? The grass is greener wherever you water it. They can be happy and fulfilled right here, right now, in this present moment. And so you need just to remind them that joy is found in the present, not the future. Okay, let's talk about type 8s. The first thing that you can do to love a type 8 is to be direct and truthful. 8s don't like when you're beating around the bush. 8s have a BS detector, so they can know when you're not telling the truth or when you're being a little shady. So just be direct and truthful. Like a lie hurts way more than the hard truth. Like if you just confess and say, oh my gosh, here's the truth. I blew it. I did this, X, Y, and Z. They're going to appreciate you and respect you more for being blunt about that rather than you like hiding it, going around their back. Like that is going to ruin and erode your trust with them. And like 6s, trust is everything to an 8. Okay? They have trust issues because there's been people that haven't been truthful with them and have betrayed them. So the best thing you can do is be absolutely truthful. Second, don't assume they are mad at you. All eights say that they do not feel loved by their loved ones or friends when they keep getting asks, "Are you mad at me? Like, are you mad right now?" Like when you keep saying that to them, they're like, "No, I'm not mad right now. I'm just passionate, or I'm just talking about my convictions." Okay, so they just feel energy in their body more than anyone else. They are the lightning rods of the Enneagram. And so to make them feel loved, receive their passion and don't misinterpret it as anger. Third, affirm their vulnerable side. Right? Don't just affirm them when they're powerful, when they're on stage, when they're kicking butt and taking names. Like they want to be powerful and they think that they're more respected when they're powerful. So you got to work extra hard to affirm them when they are vulnerable. Like when eights shed a tear, when eights confess, when eights say, "I'm sorry," when eights get emotional, say, "Man, it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable." And I love seeing that side of you right now. Like, so bring on the affirmation when they're vulnerable, and it will help them to continue to be vulnerable with you. Next, don't try to control them. All eights have this in common. They do not want to be controlled. They want their independence. They want their autonomy. They want to run after their goals and the things that they're passionate about. And so don't try to micromanage them. Don't try to control them. Don't try to tell them how to do their job. Right? Give them the freedom to do the job, to get to the results their way. And they will feel more loved when you sort of give them that freedom and space. And then lastly, don't waffle or waver in your commitments. Eights want you to be all in, like all in the relationship, all in the church, all in the group, all in the family, all in on this project, all in on vacation. They don't want you to be dragging your feet and being indecisive. It's going to feel disloyal if you're not all in and 100% committed. So make sure that they know that you're 100% committed and they will feel loved. They'll feel like you're with them. Okay, we made it to type 9, the last type. Way to go, 9s, being patient. Okay, the first thing that we can do to love our type 9s is to encourage them to speak up. Okay, sometimes 9s are the last to share their opinion, whether it's in a relationship or in the boardroom. The very last ones to speak up because they don't want to be disagreeable. They want to go along with the flow. But they want other people to ask them, "Hey, what do you think? What's your opinion?" They love, because when you ask them that question, it's like you see me and you want to know me and you want to be deeply connected to me. And so ask them, "Hey, what's your opinion on this? Speak up. I want to hear. I want to know what you think." Second of all, give them more time to process. Sometimes being a 9 is like driving through a fog on a foggy day, and you just can't see the road signs. You can't see what's in front of you. And whereas 7s, for example, are very quick on their feet and they can access their thoughts really quickly, 9s have a little bit harder time accessing their deep thoughts and deep feelings. So especially in conflict, you need to give them time to drive through that fog, see the signs in front of them, and then be able to communicate it in their timing. Like not pressuring them, but allowing them to process will make them feel loved. Okay. Thirdly, be patient, kind, and encouraging. Like type 2s, 9s want you to be kind towards them. They want you to be extremely patient with them. They want you to affirm them, to encourage them, to be a cheerleader. All right, 9s are everybody else's cheerleader. 9s are cheering the world on and are supportive parents, supportive mentors. So if you can reciprocate that support to let them know that you see them and that you are there for them and are willing to help them whenever they need it, because they're supporting our goals and supporting our agendas all the time, like they'll feel loved. Next, establish clear expectations. Right? 9s are not ego-driven. 9s are not thinking about like how they can make a lot of money today and how they can go up the totem pole and be a big deal. No, 9s are very down to earth, and they fixate a lot on what other people need, like 2s. Like, how can I support the team? How can I support people? So they're thinking about what other people need. And so it helps if you provide clear expectations so that they can know that they're being a good cheerleader and being a good supporter. If you just say, hey, go do this job, or hey, do this for me, and there's no expectations, then they don't know if they're actually being supportive. They don't know if they're being helpful. And they're afraid that there's going to be conflict. If they go do something, you haven't given clear expectations, they feel like they might do it wrong or not be supportive, and then it's going to lead to conflict and drama, and then they're going to be disconnected from you and then they start going to worst case scenario like type 6s. So establish clear expectations, be clear about what you want, and then they'll feel reassured that they'll be able to fulfill your expectations and be supportive in the right way, and that harmony will continue to exist in their relationship with you. Okay, lastly, let them know that their presence matters. Okay, we've already sort of touched on this, but this is just sort of an exclamation point on all these 5 things. Just let them know their presence matters. Let them know that you love being connected to them, love being in a relationship with them, love being their friend, and that your life is different, that your life is better because they're in it. Right? So help them to feel fully seen, loved, known, and if you do that, man, the 9s will be happy forever. All right, that's what I got for all 9 types. Good work making it through. Now I want to know what you think. Like, was I spot on in the description of your type, or did I leave any key pieces of information out that you want others to know? If so, drop a comment below and let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Now don't leave, because I've created a playlist with over 90 minutes of free teaching on how every Enneagram type is in love. So to take this from how to love each type to what each type is like in love and how to enhance those romantic relationships, click on the playlist right here to learn more about that, and I'll see you real soon.